Picture the scene. You're in Monterrey Stadium. It's absolutely sweltering under the Mexican floodlights, and over 51,000 fans are packed in, tight, right? You've got this massive, desperate North African giant staring down the barrel of back-to-back World Cup humiliations. And on the other side, a meticulously tuned Asian powerhouse, just completely primed to break records. The tension, I mean, you could literally cut it with a knife. Tonight, we are breaking down a match that delivered well, absolute heartbreak on one end and sheer, undeniable poetry on the other. Because look, this was never just another group stage game. This was a 90-minute tactical execution. You've got Hervé Renard, the man brought in to orchestrate this Tunisian miracle, basically just watching the clock tick down on a rescue mission that was collapsing in real time. Meanwhile, the Samurai Blue, they didn't just win. They unleashed this relentless, ruthless onslaught that totally rewrote their nation's footballing history books. The sheer poetry of Japan's movement left the whole world stunned.
Welcome to Soccer Prime Tonight. I'm your host, joined as always by our resident tactical expert. Today we're bringing you an explainer of an absolutely unforgettable World Cup clash. We're going to break down every single tactical shift, every brilliant strike, and all the devastating consequences of this Group F showdown. Let's get right into it.
Part 1. The stakes in Monterrey. To really get the gravity of this match, you have to understand the sheer desperation. Tunisia came into this heavily bruised. I mean, a 5-1 defeat to Sweden in their opener. That leaves the mark. For manager Hervé Renard, the mandate was crystal clear. You win or you go home. They were a wounded animal, backed into a corner, completely desperate for 3 points.
Right, and tactically, that desperation led to a really fascinating mirror match. Both managers, Renard and Hajime Moriyasu for Japan, actually rolled out the exact same 3-4-2-1 formation. But, formation is just numbers on a whiteboard. Execution is the whole shebang. And Moriyasu's setup, it completely outclassed Renard's through a vastly superior pressing trap. Japan basically used their dual number 10s to pin back Tunisia's wingbacks, suffocating. They effectively trapped the North African side in their own half right from the opening whistle.
Part 2. An early samurai strike. And suffocating is honestly the perfect word for it. Because whatever survival plan Renard drew up in the dressing room, well, it was shattered instantly. Japan came flying out of the tunnel at lightning speed. They sliced through all that pre-match tension with this terrifying offensive rhythm. 4 minutes in. That is literally all it took for the deadlock to break and Tunisian hearts to just sink. Japan drew blood first through Daichi Kamada, setting an incredibly ominous tone for the rest of the night.
Let's actually break down the 3 tactical phases of that opening goal, because it shows just how surgical Japan's attack really was. Phase 1. Keito Nakamura finds acres of space out on the left wing, completely exploiting that wide channel. Phase 2, we see this brilliant near-post movement that drags the Tunisian center backs totally out of position. And then Phase 3, Daichi Kamada arrives at the exact right millisecond to deliver this clinical, devastating flick. It's a beautifully orchestrated routine that just completely bypassed Tunisia's 3-man defense. Incredible stuff.
And if you want the defining metric of this half, it's 0.05. That is Tunisia's total expected goals, or XG, for the entire 90 minutes. To put that into perspective, it is almost statistically impossible to score with an XG that low. It's crazy. It just highlights Japan's totally suffocating defensive structure. They severely limited Tunisia to just 2 total shots all game. 2. By completely cutting off the passing lanes to Hannibal Mabry, Japan ensured Tunisia's attack was practically non-existent. Part 3. Ueda takes total control. So, with the defense completely locked down, the narrative of the first half shifts up front. And man, it was time to introduce the man of the hour. An absolutely unstoppable force wearing samurai blue who just took total control of this match, Ayase Ueda. 31st minute, Ueda produces a moment of pure magic. He collects this brilliant assist from center-back Koitakura, who, by the way, pushed incredibly high up the pitch, and Ueda just unleashes this exquisite strike from 18 yards out. The ball nestles perfectly into the bottom left corner. A pure striker's finish. 2-0. The craziest part at halftime was just how one-sided this affair was. Tunisia failed to register a single shot on target. None. Japan had 5. Japan had 17 touches inside the opposition box compared to Tunisia's 8. Japan created 3 big chances. Tunisia had 0. Remember that tactical mirror match we talked about earlier? Yeah, total illusion. Japan's 3-4-2-1 was dynamic, it was fluid, while Tunisia's was just rigid and completely pinned down. Part 4. Tactical battles and adjustments. Walking down the tunnel at halftime, you could literally feel the desperation radiating from the Tunisian camp. Hervé Renard had to act. He rolled the dice with a double substitution at the break, bringing on Amin Ben Hamida and Ismail Garbi, basically praying for a miracle.
But look, making personnel changes doesn't fix a structural disadvantage when you're being completely starved of the ball. Japan absolutely dominated the half with 62% possession. They dictated the tempo, forcing Tunisia into this really passive, exhausting chasing role. When you spend 62% of a match running after the ball under that blazing Mexican sun, your legs get heavy, your pressing shape breaks down, and you simply cannot launch an effective counterattack. It's a recipe for disaster.
To give you an idea of the dominance, Japan completed 521 passes at an elite 90% accuracy. Tunisia managed barely half of that. Japan's midfield duo, Ayo Tanaka and Kaishu Sano, just systematically dismantled the Tunisian pressing system. Every single time Tunisia committed players forward to press, Japan would calmly bypass them with this high-accuracy passing network, completely exposing the spaces left behind. It was literal death by 1,000 passes.
Part 5. The final historic blows. Death by 1,000 passes? Absolutely. As the second half wore on, the emotional toll was written all over the faces of the Tunisian players. What followed was just an absolute second-half dismantling. The Samurai Blue didn't even think about taking their foot off the gas. They actually accelerated. The dam broke again in the 69th minute. Ayase Ueda, turning into the provider this time, sets up Junya Ito. And Ito stays ice-cold, rolling this calm, precise finish right past the despairing dive of goalkeeper Eamon Daman. 3-0. Game over. You could see the fight officially leave the North African squad right then and there. The relentless timeline of goals in this match is staggering. You've got Kamada in the 4th, Ueda in the 31st, Ito in the 69th. But guess what? They still weren't done. In the 83rd minute, we get the final crushing blow. Kaishu Sano delivers this beautiful right-wing cross, and who else but a completely unmarked Ayase Ueda is there to loop a header right into the bottom right corner. 4-1. It was a complete structural collapse by Tunisia's defense in those final 10 minutes.
And that brings us directly back to the undisputed star of the show. We have to shine the spotlight on Ayase Ueda, a phenomenal match rating of 9.3 out of 10. You almost never see ratings this high in a World Cup group stage match. He was just an absolute menace out there, linking up play, finishing with lethal accuracy, and totally dominating the physical duels in the final third. Let's look at these historic individual milestones for a second. Ueda finishes with 2 goals and an assist in his 84 minutes on the pitch. That makes him only the second player in this entire World Cup to register 2+ goals and an assist in a single match, joining Cody Gakpo. But more importantly, his legendary performance led Japan to become the first Asian nation in history to score 4 or more goals in a men's World Cup match. No way around it, that is a milestone that will be remembered for decades.
Host A. Part 6. The World Cup fallout. History for one nation and just profound heartbreak for another. As the final whistle echoed through Monterrey Stadium, we shifted from the thrill of the match to the really harsh reality of elimination.
Let's look at exactly what this massive 4-0 win means for the Group F standings. Japan leaps all the way into second place on 4 points, tied with the Netherlands and boasting a +4 goal difference. Sweden drops to third, and down at the bottom, the mathematical reality hits hard. Tunisia sits on 0 points with a catastrophic -8 goal difference. They are officially eliminated.
The fallout is just brutal. Tunisia becomes only the 3rd team to officially exit this World Cup. Hervé Renard's highly publicized rescue mission, it ends in an absolute disaster. Honestly, you really have to question his future with the Tunisian Football Federation after back-to-back routes like this. On the flip side, though, Japan is riding a massive wave. They're now unbeaten in 8 matches across all competitions, and it perfectly sets the stage for a gigantic, potentially winner-takes-all clash against Sweden next. We can't wait for that.
For sure. But before we wrap up, we have to give a massive nod to the unsung heroes of this historic win. It's so easy to focus on Ueda's goals, but Japan's defense was an absolute fortress. The fan reaction says it all, right? Takehiro Tomiyasu is super, and we've missed him so much at 100%. He posted a massive 7.4 rating today. He was flawless in his passing, totally commanding at the back, and honestly was incredibly unlucky not to score early on when Daman clawed his close-range effort right off the goal line. Having him at full strength, that changes everything for Moriyasu's tactical flexibility.
It really, really does. And it leaves us with the ultimate question. After completely dismantling Tunisia and making literal history, can Japan carry this unbelievable momentum to actually go on and win Group F against Sweden? They have the tactics, they have the form, and right now, they look incredibly dangerous.
They certainly do. It's going to be a must-watch.
Thanks for watching Soccer Prime tonight. We'll see you in the next football story.